How's it going everyone? Spenny here, back with another video. Today we got quite a few Skylanders that we're going to be unboxing. They are from a few different spots. We got a few from SCL Matt, shout out to SCL Matt. We also got a few from eBay, a few from a local game store, and that's about it. So, without further ado, let's check out all the Skylanders that we got. So first, starting off with the Skylanders that we got from SCL Matt. The only reason why I bought these Skylanders is because I couldn't find them anywhere else for cheaper. I checked eBay, I checked Kijiji, I checked all my local game stores, I checked everything, and surprisingly, even with the $13 shipping from SCL Matt to ship from the United States to Canada, it was still cheaper. And we also picked up multiple things, which made it a little bit more worth my money. First, we got Splat. Splat is a really cool one. Honestly, I've been looking for Splat for a long time. I have not used Splat before, even on an NFC card, so I don't even know if she's good or not, but I'm super excited. Next, we have Punk Shock. And I have actually tried out Punk Shock. If you were watching my previous video that I uploaded, it was the winter one. I did use Punk Shock in some of the Swap Force levels, and oh my gosh, I was blown away by how good Punk Shock is. It's just so satisfying as well to use kind of the electricity moves with the water. It's kind of similar to how Whirlwind plays, but I personally like Punk Shock a little bit better. I can't wait to see how she plays when she's fully upgraded. We also have Weeruptor. This one is honestly an awesome figure. I did have the NFC card, and I actually had the Excellent Weeruptor. I've said it numerous times, I don't really care all that much about the variants. I'm good with either one I can find, and in this case, I got Weeruptor. I have an NFC card for the Excellent one, and it's no problem. So I'm very excited. Honestly, Weeruptor is kinda underrated in terms of the minis. He's also extremely hard to find, which is why this was actually the last mini I needed to complete my collection. I don't know what's up with some of the minis, some of them are just extremely hard to find. So now I'm finally done. That took a while. Some of the minis are kinda awful, like Hijinks, awful. But there's also quite a few that are pretty good, like Drobit. And you can tell why, because he's just a spam bot. Now we have another thing that's also gonna help complete another one of my collections. We have Rebel Rouser. This is the last swapper that I needed in order to complete my Skylander Swap Force swapper collection. And I don't even know if he's good or not. I've surprisingly never used him. It's a lot of work to mix match two NFC cards if I want to make swappers out of them. So I never really looked into it. I know I can make them super easy. It's just too much of a hassle to keep two cards together, and it's a waste of space. I would rather have one figure on a card rather than having a figure split onto two different cards. But yes, Rebel Rouser, finally have him. I'm very excited. Now we have a Trap Master. This is one of two Trap Masters that I got. Now we have Gear Shift, and I do believe that Gear Shift was one of the pre-order bonuses that you got if you ordered Skylanders Trap Team early. Don't quote me on that, but I did hear a few people talking about that, and that is apparently how you got Gear Shift. And now we have another one. We have Shortcut. A really cool looking one. I really hope he's good because he looks awesome. Like, as soon as I saw Shortcut, I was like, that is a very unique figure and I need him. So, can't wait to try him out as well. And it is Rocky Roll. Honestly, I was thinking that he would be a lot like the other Skylanders, not in terms of what he looks like, but the weirdest thing, and I don't know why I noticed this, but the top of him, like this part, is like the normal texture of a Skylander, and then this little ball that he's on is very plasticky, like it's extremely cheap feeling, and I don't know why they cheaped out on him when figures that are like huge like this, Wallop, they're all fully built, but then they decided to use a little bit of plastic on Rocky Roll. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of weird that they did that. And now the last one that we got from SCL Matt is Wolfgang. Now Wolfgang surprisingly is the 4th last Skylander I need to complete my Skylanders Imaginators collection. He shouldn't have been that hard to find because he's honestly in a few starter packs. Like, I didn't even find a Dark Wolfgang before this. So I don't know what was going on with that, but I found Wolfgang and all these other figures for a good price, so I decided to buy them. Now I'm happy and sad because I only have 3 more Imaginator Senseis to get, and they're all the expensive ones. I have Chompy Mage, I have Robo, and Wildstorm. That is going to be a pain to get. If anything, the next one I'm getting is probably just going to be the Christmas Jingle Bell Chompy Mage because it's the cheapest one, but even then, I don't see a lot in Canada, and when I'm looking on eBay, you have to get them imported from the UK or the United States, which makes it a little bit expensive. Even the cheapest ones that I've been able to find lately have been $75, which is way too much and way more than I'm actually gonna be willing to pay. Okay, now we have kind of a cool one. This is just a normal Series 2 Cinder from Skylanders Giants. Nothing special about Cinder, although it's kinda cool where I got her. So my dad was just out one day and he was geocaching, if you don't know what that is. It's basically where you have a GPS with coordinates on it and you're looking for a little box or a treasure. It could be big, it could be small, and you're just looking for it out in the open somewhere, wherever these coordinates lead you to. And my dad somehow found this in one of them. You leave little toys usually in them, and someone left Cinder. And my dad was like, "This is a Skylander, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is," and he got it for me. So that's pretty cool. Even though it's not a rare figure whatsoever, I thought it was extremely cool that I got a Cinder in this way. Now we have a few from my local game store. Now, these I was not expecting to find. Every single time I go to this local game store, they don't really have much that I need. It's all really common stuff like Tree Rex, Food Fight, you know, the very common stuff. But the last time I went, we found 3 different things. We found a Chop Chop from Swap Force, a very cool one. This is Twin Blade Chop Chop. We also found a Spyro Series 2. This is probably my favorite version of Spyro released. It just looks so much cooler than the normal first Spyro that came out in SSA. And last but not least, we got Camo. Camo is honestly, I feel like Camo's really underrated. I've been using Camo a lot more recently, and I just love how he plays. All of his moves are very awesome, they do a lot of damage, they're super helpful, and I'm gonna continue to keep on using him pretty often. Okay, now we have 2 figures left, and they are both from eBay, but in 2 different ways. So the first one we have that I'm going to be showing you is from eBay, but it was actually a local pickup because they wanted like $20 for shipping, and then I looked and I was like, this is really close to my school. So I was like, I'll just drive and pick it up, save $20, and ended up getting this amazing Spotlight. I was so happy because this thing is super rare. It's not every day that you come across a Spotlight, and I needed this. This was an essential pickup. If I could have got just this and none of this other stuff in this lot, I would have. That's how important it was that I made this purchase. And last but not least, this one was also from eBay, but I actually did have it shipped to me, and it was actually like $40, which is a good deal. And this is another Skylanders Imaginators Sensei. This is Chaos. Chaos is another one that I've kind of been having a hard time finding, but finally found it. This one I actually did find sooner than the Wolfgang, so this one was the 5th last one that I needed to get to complete my collection, and now I finally have Chaos. And that is actually everything that we got, and I'm super happy about all of these. It's getting really hard to find Skylanders now that I'm getting a little bit closer to having my whole collection completed. It's getting a lot more pricey lately, trying to finish my collection because there's a lot of figures that I do need that are crazy rare, and it's gonna be a while until I find them for a good price. Super happy about all this stuff. I'm definitely gonna continue going Skylander hunting kinda often, but but maybe not as much, because every time I go, I'm not really expecting to find anything, because there's just been so many times where I go to like a thrift store or a local game store where I leave empty-handed because they don't have any Skylanders that I need. I would say there's definitely under 50, maybe even under 40 or 30 just normal Skylanders that I'm missing, and after that, I'm gonna be pretty much done the collection. I don't really care about the variants. If I do find one, that's cool, but I'm not really on the lookout for them. Okay, so now we're gonna be testing out every single figure that we just unboxed, and I'm very excited. We're gonna see which ones are good, which ones may not be good, and which ones might be good once they get upgrades. So let's get it started with our Series 2 Spyro. Alright, so we are level 20. Spyro is pretty much going to be the same as the Series 1, aside from one thing, and let's see what that is. If we go to upgrades, all the way over, we have Fire Slam. I believe this is the Wow Pow, although it doesn't say it is. And it says, while flying, press B to shoot fireballs and perform a flaming slam. So let's try that out. So we just gotta fly, so press Y to fly, and then press B to shoot fireballs. Let's try it out. Oh, okay, that is pretty good. So I think, aside from this figure, like the Series 1, it also did that slam, but it didn't shoot fireballs out, which is pretty cool. Okay, this actually makes Spyro a lot more interesting. I know it's not all that much, but it does a lot of damage. Alright, shouldn't waste too much more time. Let's move on to the next figure. Alright, now we have Wolfgang. Wolfgang is only level 1, so this may not be good. He does seem pretty quick, very spammy, which is nice. I don't know how long we'll make it because we are level 1, as I said. We don't have any moves. Before we die, let's check out what we have exactly. Okay, so we can shoot our arrows at enemies. That's pretty cool. We slide, knock back enemies, so that's also good for like getting around quickly. Press Y to summon speakers, so loud they'll blast your enemies away. We don't even have that move yet, but that looks pretty cool. Looks like it can be good for taking down large waves of enemies. Hold X to shoot a charge shot. That's cool. This one, I don't know why it's like that. Unlock Songs of the Underworld to purchase this. I guess we haven't advanced far enough in the story, maybe? But it says that Songs of the Underworld can now make one more set of speakers. So that's even better. We can blast enemies around with our knee slide. Oh, at the end of the knee slide, okay. And then there's two paths. This one looks like it has to do with barriers, with the speakers. The ones up top look like it has to do with the arrows, as well as maybe sliding a little bit. And then the soul gem is press Y during a jump to please the crowd of enemies with stunning music, so that must be a very good, powerful move. And the last one, which is the sensei move, is hold right trigger to perform your Sky Chi power. It is basically a crowd surf through your enemies. That is pretty cool. I wish we did have these unlocked, but he honestly seems like a pretty promising Skylander. I just can't really do much because he is very underleveled. Now let's try out Spotlight.
Time to shine.
Spotlight I have used quite a bit, honestly, and I have taken a very good liking to Spotlight. Not the best, but very solid. If we're comparing Spotlight to something that is kind of similar, like, you know, a Sunburn, which is awful, but like the moveset is very similar, but it just does it in a better way. This is like kind of like a Prism Break and a Sunburn mixed together, but just so much better. I do like the fact that you can just spam it normally, or look at this, you have different attacks. You use the rings. If you shoot into the ring, it goes crazy. It is a little bit hard to aim, but I mean, it's not that bad. This is also a very awesome move. It charges your shot like way more, makes it really powerful, and you just can melt enemies like that. Like, look at that, 110 damage. No problem. No problem at all for Spotlight. Spotlight I can see you doing solo runs with. Super strong. I mean, the health may be lacking a little bit, but aside from that, very good. Now, let's move on to Shortcut. Shortcut, I'm hoping is leveled up because I really don't know a lot about him. So I want to see all there is. Oh, and you know what? It's from SCL Matt. It is reset. All the figures from SCL Matt are going to be reset. So before we die, let's check out the upgrade paths. Press X to snip away. Okay, that looks very spammy. It kind of looks long range, even though it's like a kind of melee attack. You can get pretty far reach because that thing is huge. Then you can press B to summon puppet minions. Rapidly press X to go into a cutting frenzy. Press Y to shoot a nether needle and pull enemies you hit in closer. Ooh, so it kind of brings them to you, which is kind of risky, it feels like. You normally don't want enemies very close to you. This one is cut a puppet string with the Traptanium scissors to make it faster and more powerful. Hold and release X to cut open a rift into another dimension. Enemies reeled in by the nether needle are tangled up in thread, so this has to do with the thread, I believe. Bottom path has to do with the puppets. Pretty cool. And the last move is hold X and press A to walk on your Traptanium scissors like stilts, damaging anything in your path. That is pretty unique, honestly. I feel like it has potential. I don't know if he's the best Skylander in the world. As I said, he's only level 1. Unfortunately, there's going to be quite a few that are level 1. I mean, good on SCL Matt for taking the time out of his day to basically reset all these so I don't have to. I mean, you do get the optimal Skylander experience when you do it yourself and figure out which path is the best on your own. So, props to him, honestly. And let's try out our next one, which is going to be Rebel Rouser. Alright, let's see what he's all about. We're just going to try and get some hits in before we take too much damage. It's like he slows down time when he swings his hammer, which is a little bit weird. Does a little attack where he goes in the ground and comes out randomly. Pretty cool, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of unpredictable, it seems like. Let's check out his upgrades. So top of his body is press X to swing a massive hammer. No kidding. Press Y to smash nearby enemies with the hammer. Okay. All hammer attacks do increase damage. Hold Y to drill into the ground, causing an earthquake. Seems kind of cool. Also seems like Grilla Drilla. Like, very similar. Then nailed it. This one has hold X to charge a hammer attack. This one is throwing the hammer, does increase damage. Bottom path is press Y to send shards of rock flying out of the ground. That seems kind of helpful, because you can be hiding and also dealing damage at the same time. And press Y to unearth more powerful rock shards that damage nearby enemies. Awesome. And Obsidian Skin. Rebel's skin becomes harder than stone, decreasing damage taken. Now that is a cool kind of move, because it decreases the amount of damage you take from literally anything. I've never seen anything like that. Now we have Deep Dig. Press B to quickly dig and then come out of the ground, damaging nearby enemies. This one is Minor Miners. Press B to dig into the ground, burst out of the ground in a short time later, and damage nearby enemies. That's very similar to Shortcut, because he also had little minions. I feel like Skylanders did that a lot. They added little minions or sidekicks to a full-size figure, if that makes sense. Kind of like how Double Trouble has little minions as well. Health is increased. Okay, that's really cool, because look, health increased and then decreases damage taken. That is a good combination there. Hold B to continue drilling well underground. Release to surprise enemies from below with a devastating attack. Then we have two paths here. This one, Boulder Toss, and boulders do increase damage. For the bottom path, we have call up 4 minor allies and help you defeat enemies. as well as minor allies do increased damage. Well, that's pretty cool. So if the minors are honestly pretty good, I might go that path because it seems kind of helpful. But same thing with the boulder. If it does a ton of damage, I'll go with that one. Whichever does more damage, I'll be more likely to use. And for the last move here, we have hold B to drill underground, release to toss a huge boulder into the sky, which comes down on enemies nearby a short time later. Now that's pretty cool as well. And that seems like that is it for Rubble Rouser. Kind of unique. I don't know if I'm a fan of this though, how it slows down time when you're kind of swinging your hammer around. And we got to level 2. Alright, now we are on to Weeruptor. Weeruptor, I already know kind of what his moveset is like, and honestly it is a lot like just normal Eruptor. So there's not a lot to know. Let's just check out his upgrades here. We have the lava blobs. You just chuck lava blobs basically. Press B to erupt a pool of lava. That is one of my favorite things about Eruptor, honestly. It does a lot of damage. I also like when you can have those little pits in the lava pool, which shoot out lava balls as well. Then we have Big Blob Lava Throw. You can throw bigger blobs. This one leaves fiery remains behind. Lava balls shoot out while performing your Eruptor attack. This is what I was talking about. Super good move. Press Y to spit out magma balls. Super big lava balls out of your mouth. Now we have lava blobs bounce and travel further, so I believe this is with the blobs. Bottom path has to do with the eruption. I personally enjoy the eruption path. And last but not least, we can shoot up to 3 magma balls at the same time, and they do extra damage. Very cool. And I really like Weeruptor. I don't know why. It's just kind of how he looks. I like him better than Eruptor, but obviously it's not optimal to like a mini better than an actual figure. And now on to our next one, which is going to be Rocky Roll. Alright, I have no idea anything about Rocky Roll. I've never used him in my life. Okay, that's weird. So, this throws stuff. You throw little boulders, I guess, or little rocks. And you also bounce at the same time. Oh, so the rock we're riding on, or standing on, or running on, shoots out little balls, which is weird. And then this other one is kind of like a speed move, but it seems kind of like he goes all over the place. This is weird. It doesn't last very long, so I hope the upgrades will help that out. Let's check it out. So, Spitball. Press X to have Roll spit out a bouncing rock projectile. That's what we were doing. Press B to perform a Boulder Dash charge attack. That's what we were also doing. Press Y to form a protective boulder barrier, then press Y again to launch the boulders out. Okay, more rocks can be out at once, I guess. Spitball and boulder barriers attacks do more damage. Press Y to create boulder barriers, and then press B to enter bouncy attack mode. That sounds really unique. Press Y to increase the amount of boulders in the boulder barrier from 3 to 6. That is a huge difference. And now it looks like for the top path, it has to do with shooting the balls out. Bottom path has to do with moving around on the rock that we're standing on, I guess. And last but not least, we have Boulder Posse. Press Y to increase the amount of boulders in the boulder barrier all the way up to 9. So it goes all the way from 3, starting out, all the way to 9. That is crazy. Honestly, seems like a very cool figure to use. I don't know if he's going to be the best, but looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm just going off looks because I really don't know how much better he gets than this. Like 7 damage a hit is not the best, and it doesn't shoot all that fast. So, I don't know. I have kind of high hopes for him. Now, on to the next one, which is going to be Gear Shift. Alright, Gear Shift, I have seen a little bit of gameplay. I feel like she's kind of good, but I could be mistaken. Like, look at this! Oh, we're literally a Beyblade right now. We're level 1 and we're dealing a ton of damage. I was just going on about Rocky Roll, doing 7 damage. Look how quick this goes. 11 damage, 11 damage, 11 damage. Like, that is crazy. And what is the other move? What is that? What did we just do? They turn into swords? So I guess it's like you can break up the gear that is basically around us 24/7. Now let's check out what our upgrades are.
Technically speaking, I am awesome.
Alright, so this is our gear attack. Okay, so we can toggle between hoop mode, dual mode, and fragment mode. That is so cool. So there was another mode that I must have missed there. Gear grind. Press Y to cartwheel forward, damaging anything in your path. I have seen this. This reminds me of Stealth Elf's kind of move that makes her really quick. Her just doing cartwheels 24/7. Or front flips. I don't exactly remember what it is. Now it says toggling modes now releases a gear saw. Gear grind into it to make it spin again. Okay. Press Y to gear grind and leave behind a bunch of dangerous mini gears. After mini gears are released, press X in hoop mode to knock mini gears into enemies. In dual mode, press X 3 times to release a gear saw. So this has to do with gear saws, the top path. Bottom path has to do with the combos, I would like to think. It says all in fragment mode, so definitely has to do with that. And the last move here is swing shift. Traptanium gear is more powerful and can switch modes much faster. Alright, well that's pretty cool. I feel like I'm really gonna like gear shift. This is a trap master that I didn't really want all that much, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't know exactly the moves that she knew, because this is insane, and I'm super excited to use her a lot more. And now we're moving on to a figure that I have used in some live streams, because I did get it around a month ago, just haven't made a video since then, and it is going to be Chaos. Chaos is kind of one that I feel like is really overpowered, and I mean it's Chaos, so he should be anyways. Look at this. This is crazy. I mean, we're not really avoiding attacks all that much, but these combos are doing insane damage. If you remember, we were using gear shift, and it was doing 11 damage. Look at this, 281? I mean, yeah, it's an Imaginator Sensei, but like, still. And then we have one where we can send out a Doomlander that just fights for us. We can have 2 at once, I believe. Okay, that's sick as well. And we also have like projectile attacks where we can just shoot stuff from extremely far away and do a lot of damage. Might as well try out our Sky Chi, whatever that is. Okay, we turn into a giant chaos head that just instantly kills everything, pretty much. Wow. Alright, Chaos, I know you're level 20 and whatnot, but you're still insanely overpowered. Let's check out what even are the upgrades. So, Brain Bash. This one is tap X 3 times. Okay, so this is all close range attacks. This one is the long ranged mind weapons. This is the Doomlander. Then you get Doom Sharks if you hold B. You can summon up to 2 Doomlanders, which is really helpful. Doom Hands. Hold X to summon giant Doom Hands to smash your enemies. Then the top path has to do with, I feel like it's the long range attacks. This bottom path has to do with the Doomlander, close range attack, and your Doomlanders disappear with an explosion. The Doom Portal. Hold Y to open a Doom Portal and rain down the ultimate Portal Master weapons. That sounds like a lot of damage there. And this is our Sky Chi power. Not a lot to say about Chaos other than he's just really good. Like, I don't even need to showcase him any more than this because I think you guys get the point. Now, we're moving on to one of my new favorites, which is Punk Shock. Alright, with the Santa Claus hat and everything, just in time for after Christmas. Punk Shock is very unique. I mean, like, so we throw down water, right? And then when you shoot enemies through the water, it electrocutes them and does extra damage. So like the water itself does damage if you just throw it. But then if you shoot through it, it just amplifies that damage so much. We're not even close to having all the upgraded moves, so there's still a lot to know about Punk Shock, which is what we're going to do right now. So, upgrades. This is just the spark shot. Shoot it with X, and it's just an electrified bolt. This one is the splash bomb. Throw a large water balloon. This one is Y, to perform a tail attack that shocks nearby enemies. It's very close range though, so it's not the best unless you want to deal a lot of area damage nearby. Press X to shoot high-powered crossbow attacks that do more damage. That'll be helpful. Press X to shoot electric crossbow bolts that branch out. Wow. Even better. Increase movement speed. Perfect. That looks a lot like Roller Brawl. Just a bit. Or a lot. You pick. Now we have two different paths. This one looks like it has to do with the splash bomb. Bottom one looks like it has to do with electricity. So this one just throws more water bombs. Does more damage. Press B to throw a big balloon into the air. Alright. And the bottom one, yep, electric aura. Enemies damaged by electrified water take increased damage. Ooh, that is probably going to be the path I'm going for, honestly, the bottom one. And press and hold Y to tail slap nearby enemies into the air. And last but not least, we have electrocute, which is hold X to charge a powerful crossbow attack. Release to shoot all enemies around you? That's insane. So I feel like I'm going to continue to enjoy Punk Shock, especially when we get all these upgrades completed. And now, we're on to our final few. There is only 4 left, and we're going to move on to Twin Blade Chop Chop. Alright, so Twin Blade Chop Chop, once again, it's another series figure. This one is Series 3. So it does have all the same things as the previous series figures, but it has a different final move. So, if you didn't know, he just has a sword, he has a shield, and he also has this little bone barrier attack. So let's check out what his other move is. So this all has to do with the shield, sword, the bones, and then we have the sword path, but there's also a shield path. Then there is the bone brambles, do extra damage, and last but not least, hold X to charge up a dual sword mode. Then release to unleash a furious two-sworded attack? That is so much better because I never really liked Chop Chop for his shield abilities. So if it gives us 2 swords, that will be so much better for dishing out damage. I'm gonna really like this. And yeah, there's not much else to say about Chop Chop. So we're moving on to another one, which just so happens to be Series 2 Cinder. I know for a fact not a lot of people like Cinder, and I mean Series 1, Series 2, I don't think Cinder improves ever throughout the game. I don't even think Series 3 is any good. Cinder, I'm just not a whole fan of this whole electrocution ability. It doesn't last forever. I mean, look at this. You turn into a ghost. Deal a few damage with those little ghosts you leave behind, but not a whole lot. And then you fly! Look at that, you fly. Very pointless move. Not a whole lot going on here. And let's check out the upgrades that are different. So over here we have the ghost ally travels with you and damages nearby enemies. And this is what we were looking for. Lightning Rain. While flying, press B to bring a giant lightning blast down from the sky. I feel like it has potential. Just every other thing from Cinder, everything that Cinder brings to the table, I'm not a fan of. I feel like I even went the right path. I don't care a whole lot about these ghosts. I feel like they're more so when you're trying to avoid enemies. But yeah, I mean, here's to hoping that Lightning Rain does something a little bit better that previous Cinder forms should have done. And now we're moving on to Camo from Skylanders Swap Force. Alright, Camo, I'm a fan of every single form of Camo. It doesn't really matter. Camo is just such a good figure in Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. And, I mean, there's not much that Camo even needed to improve upon because he was just a beast from, like, right away. So we have this little tail whip, which summons these little exploding flowers. Then we have this, where we just go into the ground and shoot watermelon. And then we have just our spam move, which is insanely awesome. Now let's check out our upgrades. So aside from all that, which we already know about, we have Orbiting Sun Shield. Hold X to create a Sun Blast Shield. Create 3 shields to gain a healing effect. And this is what we were waiting for. Explosive Harvest. Any melons can turn into explosive super melons and launch at enemies. That just makes it so much better. I never really used these watermelon attacks all that much because it kind of made you just a sitting duck. You had to kind of station yourself and then use it. But if they do more damage, I mean, I'm going to be more inclined to try and use it way more often. That looks really cool. I never even knew that move was a thing, because obviously not. I never had this figure. These figures, I never really made NFC cards for all that much because what's the point? I already have a camo. If I have the camo from the first game, why would I need another one? I'm just going to use the first one and not care about having an NFC card for a figure that I already have in a different form, when I could use one for, say, Wildstorm or Robo that I don't have at all. And we are on to the final one, the one that I'm probably most excited about and least knowledgeable about, which is going to be Splat. Alright, so I have no idea what to expect here. Splat looks kinda cool, but like, what is this, a baton? So our jumping, we do a little 360 every single time. Our one move I can't even see. I can't see. I need to check this. Upgrades. We were about to die, so might as well just check the upgrades. So press X to pummel enemies with your brush staff. It wasn't working all that well for me when I was trying it there. Press B to fling an explosive ink blob at enemies. Press Y to send an inkling charging forward, leaving damaging ink pools behind and hitting enemies in the way. That seems kind of cool. What is this, Splatoon? Melee attacks do more damage to enemies and the sparkly bits make it hurt more. I mean, sure, if it'll do better than what we just tried to do, then I'm all for it. This one is press B to fling an even larger explosive ink blob at enemies. Alright, Scapegoat. Press Y to summon a more powerful inkling. And then we have 2 paths. We have the bottom one looks like the inkling path. Top one looks like it has to do with the explosives that you throw. And last but not least, we have Bringing the Stain. Enemies hit with ink attacks are now slowed. So it doesn't specify if it's like a permanent slowdown or if it's just like forever until they die. I'm not exactly sure, but it could be helpful in getting away from enemies when you're taking a lot of damage. But that is all. That is literally every figure that we got. We are about to die just in time. So that's gonna do it. I hope you guys did enjoy watching this video. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. And a huge thanks goes out to all of my Patreon members and supporters. If you want to know more about how to become a Patreon member and a member of the channel, all that information will be linked down in the description of the video.